Rain slammed against the broken glass of the transport ship's cockpit. Smoke filled the air. Sparks hissed from the control panels. The sky outside was blood red, flashing with strange lightning. Sergeant Hale coughed hard, pushing a twisted metal beam off his leg. His uniform was torn, his visor cracked. Somewhere behind him, someone screamed. The ship was no longer flying. It wasn't even a ship anymore. It was just wreckage, half buried in the dirt of an alien world. He looked around the cockpit. Two of the pilots were dead heads slumped, eyes open, blood floating in the air like dust. A third, Lieutenant Zora, was still strapped into her seat, barely conscious, her face pale and cut, but alive. Hale, she whispered. What happened? It crashed, he said, trying to keep his voice calm. System pulled us out of hyperspace. No warning. Something hit us, or pulled us in. He tapped his cums. Nothing but static. Emergency beacon. Still nothing. Hale knew what that meant. This wasn't just any planet. This was a blackout zone. A place with no signals, no satellites, no help. He forced the emergency door open. The air outside was thick and damp. Smell was wrong sweet and metallic, like blood and water. The sky stretched wide, filled with purple clouds and massive black trees that swayed. Though there was no wind behind him, more survivors started to climb out, maybe a dozen. Most were soldiers like him. A few engineers. One scientist. The rest of the crew hadn't made it. Check the wounded. Hale shouted, "Get weapons, medkits, anything that still works." Private Cass rolled out. A case of rifles. Corporal Nia started scanning the area with a handheld device. Readings don't make sense, she said. Magnetic fields shifting. Gravity feels unstable. This place is wrong. Define wrong. Like it doesn't want us here. Just then, a loud cracking sound echoed in the distance. It was deep and sharp, like a mountain breaking. In half, everyone froze. No one spoke. Could have been the ship settling, someone muttered. No one believed it. They moved the wounded to a clear spot near the ship. Zora was in bad shape. Pulse was weak, and her arm was broken. The medic, Juno, did what she could with the supplies they had. We can't stay here, she said. Need shelter, and a way to signal home. Let's scout the area, Hale said. Nia Cass with me? They headed into the forest. The trees were taller than anything on Earth. Their bark was black and oily. The leaves shimmered like glass. Each step felt heavy, like the ground didn't want to be touched. The deeper they went, the more silent it got. No wind, no birds, no insects. Just silence. Until they found it. A circle of bones. Animal bones, but twisted, like whatever died here wasn't from Earth. Some had extra limbs. Others had skulls with 6 eyes. One even had feathers made of metal. Something's been feeding, Cass said, staring at the teeth marks on a rib and dragging. Nia added, You see the tracks? They followed the trail a few more meters, then stopped. There was a body, not bones. A human body. A man in a torn spacesuit. His face was pale, eyes wide open in terror. His chest had been torn open. Not one of ours, Hale said. Look at the patch. The logo was old. It had faded, but Hale could still make it out. USS. Kelterra, a science vessel. It's lost 50 years ago. They've been here before, Nia whispered. A loud screech tore through the forest. Not a scream, not an animal sound. Something mechanical. Out. And alive. Back to the ship. Hale barked. They ran. Branches twisted toward them as they passed, like claws reaching from the trees. Ow! The ground cracked under their feet. Something massive was moving underground. They reached the crash site just as the screech came again closer. Now what the hell was that? One soldier asked. Something hunting, Hale said. We need a perimeter. Motion sensors, traps, anything? We're not alone. Night fell fast. Too fast. Within minutes, the red sky turned pitch black. Didn't shine. The moon was nowhere to be seen. Only the ship's floodlights gave them any vision, and even they flickered. Nia set up motion detectors using drone parts. Cass-mounted turrets on top of the wreckage. Hale stood guard, scanning the tree line. Hours passed. Nothing moved. Then the sensors went off. West side, Nia said. 300 meters? Multiple contacts? How many? She hesitated. I don't know. They single quotes, changing shape. The turrets activated automatically, aimed toward the forest. A low worry filled the air suddenly. One of the turrets fired, then stopped. Hale raised his rifle. Eyes locked on the darkness. A shape moved at the edge of the light. Something tall, thin. It had arms too many. Eyes glowed in its head like coals. Then it was gone. Everyone stood frozen. Another motion sensor beeped, then another. Surrounding us, Nia whispered. Stay sharp, Hale said. Do not fire. Unless you're sure, don't waste ammo. The scream tore through the night. They turned to see one of the soldiers' vans being dragged into the trees. His boots scraped the dirt, leaving long marks. He reached out, mouth open, but no sound. Kane's throat was already torn open. Cass fired. Nothing hit. The shape vanished again. Turrets aren't tracking them, Nia said. They're not reflecting infrared. They're cold-blooded. No, they're not emitting anything. Another screech, this time behind them. A second soldier dropped. Then silence again. Hale took a deep breath. Get inside the wreck. Now, tight formation. They pulled back, dragging the wounded with them. Blocked the main hatch with crates and metal beams. Inside. It was dark and hot. Sweat dripped from everyone's faces. 2 dead, Cass said. Maybe more. We can't fight what we can't see. Zora stirred. Her eyes opened. They're testing us, she whispered. What? Hay asked. This isn't a planet, she said weakly. It's a system, a living one. We didn't crash. We were pulled here, like bait into a trap. Her voice faded. She passed out. Outside, the trees creaked. The ground thud. Dead, and from far away. Something howled not like an animal, but like metal being torn apart. Echoing through the bones of the planet. Inside the broken ship, the survivors waited. They had weapons. They had training. But this wasn't war. This was survival. And the planet had only just started playing. The survivors didn't sleep. How could they? Outside. The sounds never stopped. Not footsteps, not animals. Just movement. Whispering trees, crunching leaves, low hissing, like something breathing through metal. Inside the wrecked ship, it smelled. Like sweat, smoke, and fear. Sergeant Hale sat near the emergency hatch, rifled across his lap. Nia sat next to him, eyes locked on the sensor feed. The screen blinked red every few minutes, then green again, then red. It's always different locations. The enemy wasn't standing still. They're testing our perimeter, Nia whispered. Looking for weak spots, Halle muttered back. Cass paced behind them, chewing on a protein bar like it was rubber. I hate forests, she said. Even Earth ones. This isn't a forest, Nia said. It's alive. It sounded crazy, but she wasn't wrong. The trees bent and shifted without wind. Their roots moved slowly at night, curling toward the wreckage. One vine had already wrapped around the landing gear. Hale had ordered it cut. The sap inside was red dot like blood. Around dawn, the sensors flashed again, this time steady red. East side, 100 meters, then 70, then 40 movement, Nia said. Slow, one shape. They aimed rifles at the breach point. A branch snapped. Something stepped into the open. Everyone froze. It looked human. Torn suit. Limping. Covered in dried blood. It was. Private Renwan of the crew, thought dead during the crash. He stumbled forward. One hand raised. Help, he croaked. Hal hesitated. How? There's no way he survived, Cass said. He was in the engine room. Ren took another step. His face looked pale, stretched. Too pale. Then his mouth twitched. His voice changed. Help me, he said again, but this time the tone was wrong. Flat, robotic. Nia grabbed her scanner. That's not him. No heat. No heartbeat. Back! Hale shouted. Ren's body snapped upright. Fast, too fast. His limbs jerked, his eyes rolled back. And then, from inside his mouth, thin tendrils reached out. They writhed like worms. Cass opened fire. The thing shrieked, high and sharp, like metal being drilled. It fell, limbs twitching, the body melting as if it were made of wax. Everyone stared. What the hell was that? Cass asked. A parasite, Nia said. A mimic. It was using his body like a puppet. She scanned the goo left behind. It's some kind of fungal metal hybrid. That's not natural. Hallie checked the forest again. Nothing moved. But they all knew better now. The enemy could wear their faces that night. The survivors formed a tighter perimeter. They used fuel cells to create heat flares, small fires that mimicked human body heat, placed around the edge of the camp. Decoys that worked around midnight. 2 mimics attacked the wrong target. The first walked straight into a flare trap and exploded in a burst of black gas. The second was smarter. It watched, waited. But when it stepped forward, Cass shot it clean through the head. It dropped like a sack of meat. But the mimic wasn't the real threat that night. The forest was at 3 o'clock. The ground trembled. The trees leaned forward, creaking loud, groaning like something ancient waking up. The leaves began to fall slow, sharp, and heavy. They weren't leaves at all. They were blades. One sliced through the wing of the ship like paper. Another cut. A soldier's shoulder wide open before anyone could react. Get back inside, Hill shouted. The forest howled. Not a sound of wind, but a voice. A voice made of thousands of whispers all at once. Leave. The word echoed through their minds, not their ears. Nia clutched her head. It's in our brains. It's using some kind of psychic frequency. The lights flickered. The motion sensors shut. Off. The air got cold, then silent. Everything stopped. A figure stood in the tree line, taller than a human, wearing bones as armor. Eyes glowing deep purple. It raised one long arm and pointed directly at the wreckage, then it vanished. The next morning, they counted the survivors again. One was missing. No blood. No tracks. Just gone. Hale gathered everyone inside the remains of the ship's cargo bay, stood on a crate looking over them all. Listen up, he said. This planet is alive. It hunts. It copies us. It can use the forest as a weapon. We don't know what it wants, but we know this. We can't trust what we see or hear, and we cannot let fear win. Zora stirred from her makeshift bed. Her voice was weak but sharp. There's more, she said. I've seen this before. In research logs, Deathworld protocols, level Omega, this place. It was marked off limits by Earth Command years ago. Everyone turned. They called it Xerxes 9. It wasn't a planet. It was a test zone. A living weapon built by something ancient. Although something that judges species. If you survive, maybe you earn the right to live. Cass swore. You're saying this is a trial? Zora nodded slowly. And we're the test subjects. That night, Hale decided to scout further out with Nia and Cass. They had to find a way off this world or at least a place to hide. The forest couldn't be endless. They moved through the tall grass, weapons ready. After 2 kilometers, they found something, a ruin. Metal walls half buried in vines. Strange writing on the surface, spirals and angular shapes that glowed faintly. This isn't human. Nia whispered. Looks like a bunker, Cass said. Old, pre-human. Inside, they found signs of struggle, deep claw marks, skeletons twisted. Long-limbed things with insect-like skulls. But in the back, they found something else. A beacon. Old tech. Faint power still humming, and next to it, a screen that flickered to life as they stepped near. Text appeared in English. Stage 1, observation. Complete. Stage 2, initiated. The screen shut off, and in the distance, the trees screamed. Again, the ground trembled. Sergeant Hale gripped the bunker wall as dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere above them, the forest was moving fast and angry. Cass swung her rifle toward the tunnel. That beacon triggered something. We need to move. No, Nia said, staring at the dead screen. We need answers. This was a message. Stage 2. What does that mean? Means the planet just leveled up, Cass muttered. Outside, trees cracked like bones snapping. The air filled with a low hum deep, vibrating through their chests. Hale checked the scanner. Something's coming. Big. Multiple signals. Not mimics. Something else. They grabbed what they could. Dedicors, a half-functional drone. A strange cube that pulsed with blue light and sprinted. Back through the jungle, the forest didn't wait. Vines whipped out from trees like living ropes. One lashed across Nia's chest, slamming her into a tree. Nia. Hale shouted, firing blindly at the vine. Cass sliced it with her knife, yanking Nia free. Blood ran down her arm. I'm okay. Keep moving. The sound behind them changed. It wasn't whispers anymore. It was footsteps. Heavy. Many. They didn't look back by the time they reached the wrecked ship. The others were already setting up defenses. Juno ran to them, eyes wide. We saw the readings. What happened? We found a bunker, Hale said. Ancient tech. Someone or something is watching us. The message said Stage 2 has begun. Then what the hell is that? Someone shouted from above. Everyone turned. The trees were moving, not shaking. Walking. Massive. Shapes pushed through the jungle, twisted beasts made of bark, bone, and machine parts. Their eyes glowed red. Their limbs dragged the earth like bulldozers. Constructs. Nia gasped. Built from the forest. Grown. They're not alive, Cass said. They're weapons. Doesn't matter, Hale barked. Get to positions. Aim for the joints. Don't let them get close. The first beast charged. It moved faster than they expected. The turret opened fire bullets, ripping bark and flesh. One of the legs shattered, and the beast collapsed, smashing trees as it fell. Cheers went up. Then 5 more appeared. They're flanking, someone yelled. Cover the sides, Hale shouted. Form a kill zone. Gunfire echoed through the forest. Sparks flew. Trees. Burned. Beasts fell, but not fast enough. One creature reached the wreckage and slammed its claw into the hole. Metal shrieked. A soldier screamed. Juno ran out, dragging the wounded back inside. Blood stained the dirt. We're not going to survive like this, Cass said. They're adapting. They're probing again, Nia said, wiping blood. From her face, like a chess game, we win a move. They make a worse one. Stage 2 is war, Hal muttered. We're the test. The beasts paused suddenly, stopped moving. Silence dropped like a curtain. The survivors stood frozen. Weapons raised, waiting. Then all the creatures turned at once and walked away. Why? Are they leaving? Cass asked, panting. Hale stared. Into the trees, because we passed. The jungle grew quiet. Then a sound rang out from above, an odd, rhythmic clicking. Like something large crawling on metal. They looked up. Something stood on top of the ship. It wasn't a mimic. It wasn't a beast. It was humanoid, tall, thin, cloaked in long bone-colored armor. Its face was a mask with 6 glowing eyes. It didn't speak. It just watched. Then it vanished in a blur. Did anyone else? Cass began. Yeah, Hale said. We saw it. It didn't attack, Nia whispered. It's observing, Hale said. Like a judge. Zora, half awake, on her cot, croaked, That's what they do. After each stage, they send one. To watch. To measure. To decide if we live, Cass finished grimly. That night, I didn't sleep again. The forest was silent, but the air buzzed with tension. Hale sat by the fire, staring at the cube they'd brought back from the bunker. It pulsed steady, calm. Nia examined it. I think it's a memory core. From what? Whoever made this place. It's not just a planet. It's a machine. Testing races. It's judging if we're predators. Or prey. You think we passed this round? Cass asked. For now. Nia said, but there's more. The cube isn't just data. It's a key. It opened something when we picked it up. Another stage, Hale said. At dawn, the forest opened. Literally, the trees bent back, revealing a path that wasn't there before. A perfect circle, lit by bioluminescent moss, leading deeper into the heart of the jungle. They want us to. Go in, Naya said. No, Cass said. They want to watch us go in. Zora pushed herself upright, pale and shaking. You don't understand? If we don't enter the final zone, they come back? Stronger? Smarter? Worse? So what's in there? Hale asked. Zora looked at him with hollow eyes. The architects, or what's left of them. They gathered supplies, rations, ammo, medical kits. Only 5 of them could go. The rest were too injured or needed to defend the wreckage. Hall, Cass, Naya, Juno, and one quiet engineer named Ro volunteered. Before leaving, Hall turned to the rest. If we don't return in 24 hours, do not follow. You'll only die. Stepped into the forest's path. It sealed behind them. The light changed. Everything glowed green-blue. The trees no longer moved like before. Now they watched. Still, 1,000,000 unblinking eyes. Welcome to Stage 3, Cass muttered. The path narrowed. Tunnels of roots. Walls of vines that opened only when the cube pulsed. Once, they passed a wall covered in carvings. Nia stopped. They tell a story, she whispered. A species arrived. Like us, smart, brave. They passed the trials, and Hale asked. She touched a carving. They were erased. What? Accepted, taken, used, turned into something else. No prize? Cass asked. Reward? This is the reward, Nia said, voice trembling. Hours passed. Then they reached it. A clearing with a single monolith in the center. Black, floating, the cube in Hale's pack began to vibrate. He stepped forward. The monolith opened. Inside was a room not of stone, of light. Endless data floating in the air, images, maps, sounds, and at the Centera chair, empty, waiting. A voice echoed, not out loud, but in their minds. You survived the surface. You resisted mimicry. You adapted to attack. You passed Stage 2. All looked around now. Who will take the final test? The voice didn't sound evil. It sounded curious, hungry, alive. Hale looked at his team, then back at the chair, and stepped forward. Sergeant Hale stepped into the light, the moment he touched the floor beneath the floating black monolith. The ground rippled like water. The chair waited still, silent, ancient. It didn't look like technology. It looked like stone carved. From shadow that pulsed faintly with a heartbeat he could feel through his boots. Hale, don't, Cass called, her voice sharp, but the voice in their minds returned. Only one may enter. Only one may be judged. Hale turned to his team, Cass. Nia, Juno, Ro, we have to finish this. We're not going to survive much longer. Not here. Not unless we know what they want. He placed a hand on the chair. It opened like a blooming flower, revealing a space just big enough for a human body. Not wires, not restraints. Just smooth, curved walls of dim silver. Without another word, he sat. The moment he leaned back, the world vanished. Hale blinked. He was no longer in the forest. He stood in a white room that stretched into infinity. No walls, no ceiling, just light. And then dash images, explosions, civilizations, entire species. Some rose, some burned. War, survival, betrayal, victory. The images weren't random. They were human history, but sped up, compressed into flashes. He saw the fall of Earth's first cities, the rise of starships, the wars over alien fuel, the desperate colonization of barren moons. Then the HFY, campaigns humanity, F asterisk, asterisk, yeah, asterisk. The military victories, the planets taken, the enemies crushed. A voice echoed again. You are not the first. Figures appeared, other species, tall, insectoid, reptilian, cloud-like. They stood where he stood now, Some wept, some screamed. Hale disappeared. You are not the strongest. Hale stood still. Then what do you want? Said aloud. The light dimmed. We want proof. Of what? That you are more than a predator. A new image formed. Hale's face. His thoughts projected around him, moments from his life. A memory of saving a comrade. Another of ignoring an order to bomb a civilian colony. Regret, pain, pride. You're reading me, he muttered. Judging you as a representative of your species. Then came the test. Figures appeared flickering. Fast. First, his mother. Reaching for help, then his squad mate. Bleeding on the battlefield, then an enemy soldier, a child, one after another, and each time had to choose. Save, leave, kill, speak, run, stay. Each choice changed the scene. Each choice made the next harder. The chair wasn't reading his mind. It was forcing him to choose. Testing morality, fear, leadership, mercy. After what felt like hours, the white room faded, and Hale heard the voice again. But softer, not perfect, not clean, but capable. You feel it. Protect. You think. He felt cold. He was back in the chair. Back in the monolith. Back in the jungle. Sweat ran down his neck. His breath came fast. NIA and the others stood around him. You were out for 5 minutes, Cass said. What happened? I was tested. Hale said, not my skill, not strength, my soul, I think. The chair didn't kill you, Ro said. That's something. The cube floated from Hale's pack and slotted into the monolith. Everything changed. The vines around the clearing uncoiled, the trees bent aside, and in the distance rising from the forest. Floor was a ship, no engines, no crew, just as sleek. Black vessel shaped like a blade, waiting. The reward, Juno whispered. I don't think it's a reward, Nia said. I think it's passage. They approached carefully. The ship opened, inside, looked human enough for comfort. Lights, seats, consoles, at the center. A message flickered on a glass screen. Humanity, Stage 3 complete. Clearance granted. Cass stared at it. Clearance. For what? For Stage 4, the voice echoed one last time. The ship rumbled. It began to rise. No sound. No fire. The jungle below waved goodbye with moving branches. As they left the surface, Nia looked at Hale. What was in that test? Hale said nothing for a long time. Then it asked me one thing. Again and again. Would you save others, even? If it meant dying yourself, and you said yes? No, Hal whispered. I showed them I already had. The ship entered orbit. Behind them, the Deathworld grew small. Below, the rest of the crew saw the ship vanish into the sky. But they didn't know what came next. They didn't know humanity had. Just unlocked something ancient, something powerful, and something that might not be a gift at all. The stars outside the ship barely moved, yet they felt like they were flying through time itself. The vessel made no sound. No engines hummed, no buttons blinked. Everything inside was smooth, silent, and clean like a museum of some forgotten. Future Sergeant Hale sat in the command chair, still pale from the trial. Cass stood behind him, arms crossed. You sure this thing is safe? No, Hale said. But I think it knows where it's going. Nia tapped the console. It responded to her touch not with symbols or words, but images. Blue lines, circles, a galaxy map maybe, but alien. It's guiding us, she whispered. Somewhere beyond our mapped space, Rose stared out the curved window. This isn't just transport, this is an invitation. To what? Juno asked. A bigger test? Hale didn't answer. The ship changed. Speed instantly. One moment they drifted past stars. The next they were facing a giant black structure in deep space. It wasn't a planet. It was built massive, dark, silent, spinning slowly around a glowing core. They all leaned forward. What is that? Cass breathed. Ro blinked. It looks like a space station. No, a machine. A judge. Their ship moved on its own, flying into one of the open docks. As soon as they landed, the doors opened. No alarms. No voices, just darkness and the soft hum of something alive. They stepped out. The air was breathable, cold, dry. The corridor stretched forward like a throat. Lights followed them as they walked. Every step echoed. Feels like we're walking into something's stomach. Juno muttered. Hall raised his weapon. Let's hope it's sleeping. They walked for what felt like hours. Then the corridor widened into a huge room round. Tall walls covered in alien carvings, and at the center stood a circle of empty seats. 12 of them, all shaped differently. Some small, some towering. Only one was human-sized. Nia froze. This is a council chamber. Where are the others? Ro asked. The answer came before anyone could speak. The room shifted, not physically but visually. Suddenly each seat filled with flickering shapes, holograms, ghosts, something in between. Each figure was from a different species, tall, scaled, multi-limbed, winged, floating. All watching, silent. The human seat remained empty. Then a deep voice echoed from the walls, not in words, but in thought. The defenders have arrived. Everyone raised their weapons. You stand before the keepers of judgment. Long ago, our kind built the trial worlds to test rising civilizations. Only the strong, wise, and united survive. Hallie spoke. You want us to join this council? You have passed stage 3. You were observed. You showed strength, sacrifice, and thought. You qualify. Qualify for what? Cass demanded. To speak for your species. To become one of the defenders. They all exchanged glances. Juno frowned. Sounds like a trick. Or a trap, Cass added. Nia stepped forward. What do the defenders do? The voice answered. Without pause, we watch the stars. We protect balance. We judge rising species. We destroy those who threaten the order. You mean you kill civilizations? Ro asked. Only when necessary. Only when they prove unworthy. Silence. Then the human chair lit up. You have a choice. Join us, or return. If you stay, you represent humanity in all future trials. You will see the secrets of the galaxy. You will speak, decide, and one day, lead. Everyone turned to Hell. The voice was meant for him. Why me? He asked. You sat in the chair. You were tested. You passed not by power, but by choosing to protect others at your own cost. Cass stepped close. You don't have to do this. We came to survive. That's it. But Hale shook his head. No, this is bigger than survival. He walked to the seat, paused, looked back. Tell the others, humanity's not alone. And what we do now matters. Then he sat down. The moment he did, light filled the chamber. The other seats bowed each hologram, lowering their heads. The voice returned stronger. Deeper humanity has claimed its seat. The galaxy watches. And then everything went black. Back on the jungle planet, the crew waited. Days passed. Then a new ship fell from orbit. Sleek. Familiar. The same design as the black. Vessel, but now it bore a symbol on its side. A circle of stars around a sword. And inside was a message. Earth has entered the trial network. Prepare. But no one on the planet knew what that truly meant. Not yet. Earth didn't know what was coming. Not at first. The black ship appeared in orbit above Luna Station. No signal, no crew. No demands, just a symbol on its hull. A silver sword surrounded by stars. By the time military teams reached it, the hatch was already open. Inside was only a single message, written in clean, perfect Earth standard text. Humanity has entered the trial network. Prepare for stage 4. It spread across the solar system like wildfire. Was it a threat? A warning? A gift? Governments panicked. Militias armed themselves. News networks speculated 24/7. No one understood. What the trial network really was, until the changes began. It started small. Strange signals picked up beyond Neptune. Then one of Saturn's moons vanished, replaced by a perfect sphere of glowing black metal. Surveillance drones failed too. Return? Satellites caught glimpses of impossible shapes moving at light speed. Something had arrived and Earth was being watched. 10 days after the black ship's arrival, Hale returned. He stepped off a second vessel, flanked by 2 unknown figures tall. Armored, silent, not human. Hale was different. Older, maybe. Or heavier. Not in body, but in eyes. He walked into the UN Core Council chambers without invitation, and the lights dimmed as he spoke. Earth has passed stage 3, he said. But the trial isn't over. Who are your escorts? A council member demanded. They are defenders. From other worlds, they came to confirm humanity's decision. What decision? Another asked. Hale looked around the room, eyes calm but sharp. We've been invited to join the Council of Judgment. No one spoke, he continued, voice steady. It's not an alliance, not a treaty. It's a role, responsibility. We've been seen, judged, and now we are part of something much bigger. A network of civilizations who decide the future of rising species. Some are guided, some are stopped, some are erased. Gasps filled the chamber. You're saying we're judges now? General snapped. That we decide who lives or dies in the galaxy? No, Hale said. We're saying we're not alone anymore. The galaxy doesn't wait for permission. He held up a cube black and glowing faint blue. This is a gate key. It connects to the trial network. More will come. More tests. More contact. And if we refuse? Someone asked. Hale looked at them, eyes dark. Then humanity becomes a variable, a wild card, and they will decide what to do with us. A long silence. Then, what's stage 4? Hal's jaw tightened. Defense. 2 weeks later, the sky split open over Mars. A rift, a hole in space, opened above the colony of New Ares. It wasn't an attack. It was a door, and through it came a fleet of sleek, bone-white ships. They didn't fire. They didn't speak. They watched trial observers. Stage 4 had begun. In a lab beneath Geneva, Nia stood over a table covered in alien tech. Cass entered, tossing down a case of weapons. How long have they been hovering? Cass asked. 76 hours, Nia said. No contact, just scans. Silent. They waiting for us to blink. More like waiting for us to break. She turned to the screen where alien code flowed. Whatever stage 4 is, it's not just physical. It's psychological, social, maybe moral. What's that mean? Cass asked. It means Earth is being tested in real time. Everything we do now, every decision, every conflict, every speech, it's being recorded. Cass looked uneasy and judged. Nia nodded, just like Hale was. On the streets of Jakarta, riots broke out. People feared invasion. Others welcomed it. Some thought the trial network was a lie. Others worshipped the ships like gods. In the chaos, a rogue militia opened fire on a trial observer hovering over. The city, the beam bounced off its shield. The ship didn't retaliate. It just turned and left. The next day, that entire district vanished. No explosion, no warning. Just empty ground where a city once stood. Hale stood in orbit again, aboard the Defender ship. With him was a being made of crystal and shadow. It spoke with a voice like wind through stone. You told them the truth, it said. I had to, Hale answered. Few ever do. Most lie. Most try to control the trial. All fail, will we? The being paused. That depends. Not on your strength, but on your unity. Hale watched Earth spin below. It won't be easy. It never is, the being said. But it's worth it. In a secret chamber under the Defender vessel. 12 seats waited. One now held the sword and star mark of Earth. Next to it, new slot opened on the circular mapnet. NIA decoded it hours later. It showed a new trial planet. Unknown location. Unknown. Species. Unknown rules. But one word glowed brighter than all. Incoming. Stage 5 was no longer a future threat. It was on the way, and Earth had only just begun to understand what it meant to be a defender. The trial planet wasn't on any star map. It wasn't orbiting a sun. It drifted cold. Silent, hidden in a dead zone of space no signal had ever reached. A place forgotten by time. The defender ship approached slowly, its hull shifting colors as if uncertain. Inside, Sergeant Hale stood with Nia Cass. And Ro. Juno was back on Earth, now assigned to monitor trial transmissions. "This is the one," Nia whispered. Stage 5. The planet below looked lifeless gray deserts, frozen mountains, black rivers of still liquid, but the scan said otherwise. Beneath the surface, something moved. "We're not just watching this time," Hale said. "We're interfering." "That's not protocol," Cass replied, eyes sharp. "Nothing about Stage 5 is," he answered. The ship descended. No landing pad, no signal, just endless ash-covered land as they stepped onto the surface. Gravity pressed harder than normal. The air was thin, but breathable. The silence was wrong, and then they saw it. A city, or what was left of one. Twisted towers leaned like broken bones, glass structures cracked from age or war. The streets were covered in dust, but no footprints, except one. A single trail, winding through the ruins. Fresh, Hale signaled. "Move." They followed the path, past shattered machines, through hollowed tunnels. Deeper into the planet's core, the trail ended at a wide stone door, covered in glowing blue marks. "Old alien," Ro scanned it. "This language isn't on file. It's not a language," Nia muttered. "It's a message." "What's it say?" Oh. She looked at them, pale. "Do not wake the king." The door opened, inside darkness and breathing, slow, deep, ancient. Something was alive. Cass raised her weapon. "We should turn back." "We were sent here," Hal said. "The network wants us to see this." They entered. The room was vast, circular. At the center stood a throne made of metal and bone, and on it sat, corpse, but not dead. Its chest moved, its skin dark gray, armored was cracked and dry like volcanic stone. Its eyes were closed, but its fingers twitched around it. Machines, Enna gasped. "This is no trial. It's a prison." The body on the throne opened one eye. The team froze. A voice filled the chamber, not with sound, but with weight. It pushed against their minds like pressure in deep water. Another speaks. Another dares. The figure rose. It was 3 meters. Tall, wrapped in fragments of a long-dead empire. "You bring the mark of judgment," it said, staring at Hale. "But you do not understand what you judge." "We were sent to observe," Hale said. "To record your status." Lies. The figure stepped off the throne. The machines around him powered up. Lights blinked red. Metal groaned. "You came because they feared me, because they still remember. What I was, what I am." Ro aimed. "Identify yourself." The being looked at him with amusement. "I am the first, the one who broke the trials, the reason your council exists." They didn't breathe. Hale stepped forward. "You're the one who refused to be judged." It finished. "And I made them bleed for it." It raised a hand. The walls shifted. A hologram appeared, showing a galaxy on fire, ships exploding, cities dying. A war long forgotten, fought by this being alone. They thought they erased me. They failed. Chamber began to shake. Outside the dead city lit up lights sparking to life. Systems rebooting after centuries. "Now you return. To finish what they started, but I will not die here."
"Wait,"
Nia shouted. "We don't want war. War comes whether you want it or not." The being raised its arms. From the ground, machines rose, metal beasts with glowing cores and jagged limbs. "You are not judges. You are messengers. Tell them, the king has awoken. The trial is broken." Cass fired, Her shot bounced off its shield. They ran. The floor crumbled behind them. Machines chased them down the tunnels. Sirens howled in alien tongues. They reached the surface as the city behind them collapsed. The Defender ship opened its hatch just in time. Once inside, the ship launched skyward. The ruined planet burning behind them, Hale stood, chest heaving, staring down at the world below. "What was that?" Cass yelled. Nia's hands trembled. A mistake. A secret they buried. Ro watched the sensors. He's not staying buried. A new signal appeared on the screen. A symbol none of them had ever seen. A crown of flames and a message. Stage 6 activated. Collapse detected. They looked at each other. No one spoke. The trial wasn't about testing humanity anymore. It was about surviving what came before. And now, he was awake. Earth was silent. The sky above was full stars, satellites. Defense drones, but none of it mattered. Every world in the trial network felt it. He had wakened the king, the one the council had buried. Now his signal echoed across galaxies, unlocking weapons that were never meant to be used again. Across the void, systems flared with red warnings. Stage 6, trial collapse imminent. Protocol override engaged. Defender status, terminated 1 of 12. On Earth, chaos returned. Half. The council called for war. The other half called for surrender. Civilians demanded answers. Cities scrambled underground. The Defender gate above the moon blinked, then dimmed. Something was coming through. On the Defender vessel, Hale stood in the dark, hands on the console. The ship wasn't responding. It wasn't allowed to. The trial network had entered lockdown. "We woke up something older than the system," Nia whispered. "He is the system," Hale replied. "He was the first Defender, the original." "And they tried to kill him," Cass added. "Locked him away and wiped the records." "Classic." "He's not after revenge," Ro said. "He's after control." They turned to him, he explained. "He said it on that planet, the trial is broken. He doesn't want to destroy the network. He wants to rule it." Silence. Then the main console pulsed. A signal came through, not from Earth, or not from any ship. It was from the council core. 12 seats now dark, and a new one forming, glowing with fire. A message followed. Final judgment. Humanity will decide. They were pulled instantly across space. The ship didn't fly, jumped when it stopped. They were in orbit around something impossible. Not a planet, not a ship. A ring world larger than any solar system they'd ever seen. Spinning, ancient, the trial's source, and inside it, the king's fleet. Millions of ships. Machines built to reshape galaxies. War forms the size of moons. Artificial suns being dragged into position, and at the center. Him, the king, alive, powerful, waiting inside the core chamber. Hale stood alone. The council seats were empty, except one. His. The human seat. The rest had shut down. He sat. A voice filled the chamber, not the king's, not the council's. It was the voice of the system itself. One Defender remains. The final trial begins. "What is the trial?" Hale asked. "Judgment. Do we continue, or do we fall?" The screen shifted. Earth appeared. Then dozens of other species, some known, some hidden, each in fear, in chaos. Hale felt it in his chest. They were all looking to humanity, to him. Not because humans were strongest, but because they were still free. They hadn't chosen the system. They hadn't broken from it. Either they were in dash between, balanced, unclaimed, neutral, the perfect. Judges. The king appeared before him, not in person, but through projection. "I don't want to destroy the trial," he said calmly. "I want to end the game. No more tests. No more lies." "You want control?" Hale said. "I want peace," the king replied. "Or order. Your kind's order nearly ended the galaxy." The king nodded once. The council's order made it boring, weak, passive. He stepped closer. "End it. Join me." Together, we rebuild the network. You'll have power, legacy. Your people will never be tested again. Hale looked at Earth's image glowing on the console. He saw his team behind him, waiting, trusting. He stood. No. The king paused. You'll die, and at least I'll die human. System reacted. Lights blazed. The core shattered open, revealing the full control hub of the trial network. 12 keys. One left. The human key. Hale placed. His hand on the console. It glowed. Final defense protocol activated. The ring world shook. A wave of energy burst outward, pure data, rewriting systems, resetting machines. Across the galaxy, king-trolled ships shut down. Weapons collapsed, and the crown of flames flickered. The king howled. You don't know what you've done. Hale stared straight at the screen. I gave the galaxy back its voice. In the distance, the Defender fleets returned daily in ships that had hidden for centuries. Former judges, former enemies. Now allies. NIA activated the final relay. A message spread across the stars. The trial network is reborn. No kings, no rulers, no gods. Only watchers. Humanity stands. The galaxy stands together. Back on Earth, the skies cleared. The gate lit. Up again. Not red. Blue. Hope for the first time. The people of Earth looked up and saw not a threat but a road, a future, in the final scene. Hale sat quietly on the observation deck of the restored Defender ship. He watched the stars. Cass approached, handing him a drink. You good? She asked. No, he said, but I will be. What now? Hale looked out the window. We watch, we listen, we don't rule, we defend. Pause. Then, where to next? Nia appeared beside them. The system just flagged a rising species. Unknown tech. Fast growth. Might be trouble. Hale stood. Let's go meet them.